Ready to go. All right. So big challenge this week for us. This is a defense that's pretty stacked. The one that always gives us trouble. So, we got to be on it this week. We're ready and up for the challenge. They have a great front. Robert Quinn, Donald. Probably a couple of the best guys that play the game today. And so we'll have to be ready for that. I think they're the one thing I really see about this defense, and it's really been since we've played them, regardless of what's been going on over there, is they fly around. They're still playing hard. They're still running. They're still hitting. So I really haven't seen much of a change from week 2 when we played them to where they are now. Maybe a guy or two that's different on the defense, but for the most part, they're playing hard. They're doing a nice job.
Given how far your offensive line has come together as a new group at the beginning of the year, how much maybe better prepared are they for this challenge?
Yeah, I mean, well, they're definitely more prepared than they were, in that game, just in terms of experience of playing side by side with some of the same players that are next to them. So we've come a long way in that. Our quarterback's obviously different than he was in that game as well. So it'll be different.
What happened in Green Bay, do you think? What went wrong? What was Russell Wilson's situation?
We just turned the ball over. And, when you turn the ball over that many times, you're not going to give yourself an opportunity to be successful. And, it's going to be hard to win games.
Is there any common thread? A couple passes went off receivers' hands that were intercepted.
Well, I mean, there's, really every game that you go into, I mean, there's so many things that happen and so many things that are different. And I mean, we can go through each one. I'm not going to get into it, because we really have moved on. I mean, we're ready to play the Rams here in a couple days. But missed a couple throws went off people's hands. So, we learned from them. We've moved on.
You said the Rams consistently give you problems. What is the main reservation for the pass rush, the run D? What's kind of the common thread?
Well, I mean, they play us well. Obviously we know them, they know us. I think they have really solid personnel. Greg Williams does a great job with the defense. He's got great schemes, and then the personnel is. I think the personnel is outstanding. I mean, they got a great front. They got nice linebackers that run. I mean, the safeties are running downhill, hitting like crazy, and they play at a fanatic pace. They play hard. And, I got to give it to them. Each and every time we play them, we get their best.
Does Russell ever show his frustrations when things aren't going his way, like we saw last week in Lambeau?
No, he's really good. He's always positive. I think you guys have as much interaction, with him as you can, and you know how he is. He's very positive. He's upbeat. He believes in himself. He believes in his teammates, and very seldom will you ever see him down. I mean, obviously, he's upset with what he did, or what might have just happened, but he bounces back very quickly from it. We look at it, we talk about it, and it's really in the past, just right there on the field.
How important trait is that for a quarterback, the bouncing back quickly and being positive?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, we love the confidence that he has, love the belief that he has in himself, and there's 5 minutes to go. He's fighting not to be taken out of the game. He still feels like if there's one click of the clock still up there, then we have a chance to win. And you love that mentality in your quarterback.
You've averaged, I think, 164 yards a game on the ground the last 4 weeks, over 5 yards per carry. What's kind of come together for the running game? Is it as simple as Thomas Rawls being back, or is there more to it?
Well, I think that's a big factor. I mean, we have a solid runner, somebody that we're hoping to have the whole year. He's got good vision. I mean, you see how he finishes runs. I mean, we love his style. He's Seahawks style is what we like to talk about, and how he finishes the run, how tenacious he is. We've done some things scheme wise, to help us, and so it's not all Thomas, but it's a lot Thomas. I mean, he's doing a great job, but our lines has done a nice job. Tom's done a nice job making some subtle adjustments. We haven't scrapped the whole thing, but just made some subtle adjustments, and combinations are coming off really well, and Thomas is seeing it.
With Russell on some of maybe the underthrows and overthrows, we're not used to seeing a lot of those. What did you see? Was it mechanics or something else you could take out of that?
Well, we'll leave it with that. I mean, we learned from it on tape, and we talk about it, and then we moved on. I mean, we're on to the Rams, really. It's such a fast turnaround. We watched it on the plane. We watched it on from the bus ride to the airport and on the plane, and then when we were done with it pretty quick.
Have you ever had to encourage Russell or ever pick him up at any point, at any time?
Yeah, I mean, there's opportunities to do. I think we do it both ways. Sometimes I might get a little frustrated. Sometimes he gets a little frustrated, and we have great conversations back and forth. And I just kept. I was, in that last game, I was building him up. I mean, he's still, like I said, he's got such a great outlook on life, outlook on his abilities, outlook on his team's abilities. So very seldom is he down. But I mean, there's 5 interceptions or whatever that happened in that game, and so I just kept talking to him. About coming back. That one's gone. We just got to keep moving on.
The last three weeks have been such extremes in offensive output and productivity and things like that. Is it just sort of just 3 different games and the way they went, or is there any sort of weirdness? I don't know, the fact that it's been so up and down.
I mean, definitely. There was differences. I mean, what happened in. Go back to the Tampa game. What happened in that game was not the same thing that happened in the Green Bay game. I mean, the Green Bay game, we're 50% on third down. In the Tampa game, we weren't very good on third down. So I mean, there's all kind of things. I mean, every game is different, and we play each and every game obviously to do our best. And I think our guys are putting forth the right effort. They come back and. The same way that they do each and every week, whether we win, whether we lose, they're ready to go and be successful the next week. So we have good mentality, we have good players, and we have good outlook.
How does Kelvin Taylor fit in for you at this point?
Well, we're still working on it. We like what we see with him as a runner. Again, that's really kind of what we're looking for in that position right now, and kind of just having to get him up to speed. There's a lot to learn, as with any new player that comes in, and sometimes you can plug them in quickly. Sometimes it takes a little more time. So we're still assessing all that right now.
How have you seen Tanner McAvoy sort of progress from training camp to now?
Yeah, I think Tanner's doing a nice job. He's come a long way, and I mean, when he first moved over to the wide receiver position, it was really new to him. And he's grown each and every week, each and every practice. He's gotten better. At the beginning of training camp, you go up against Richard Sherman, he stones him at the line. Now he's got his plan. Now he knows how to get off, and he's always had a great ability to catch. He's always been a very smooth athlete. Makes catching look very easy. He can, he's big. He can run. He can, change direction. So all that's good. It just was all the technique and learning the position, and. He's kind of lucky horseshoe, a little bit. Every time he goes in, something good happens. So, you like those kind of guys.
Does it tell you about a guy, though, when they don't get many chances and they seem to come up with a big play just about every time they do?
Yeah, I was asking Dave the other day, the wide receiver coach, and I was like, how many plays has he had? Because I don't know the total number of plays, but there's very significant plays that he's had. He had the touchdown against the Jets. He's got a blocked field goal, blocked punt, and the list goes on and on. So every time he gets in there, something usually good happens.
What did Marcel Reese show you might be able to use him for?
Well, he's a pro, so the first thing is he's been in a lot of systems, so he's able to pick up our system quick, and so that helped us to be able to use him. He had a couple of nice catches in the game, and we'll just continue to bring him along, and ask him to do more.
Is McAvoy pushing for some more playing time, given that circumstance for you, the fact that he's been so successful in those limited chances?
For sure. I mean, we're working to find spots for him to get in there. We really like our receiving core. I mean, Tyler's showing up, doing a nice job. Obviously, Doug, Tanner's doing good. Jermaine, and then P. Rich has kind of been up and down a little bit with injuries, but like to find all opportunities for those guys.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.